Hi friends! If you click to check out the BEAUTYLISH Lunar New Year, Year of the Ox brush, then please keep on watching. Hi, I'm Alicia. If it's your first time here, thank you so much for clicking on my video. And if you are returning, well, thank you for visiting me again. Kinkysweat stands for my kinky hair and sweat life. I'm a fitness professional who loves things, all movement and beauty. If you want to check out what I do in between the makeup, stick a head over to my Instagram. A huge thank you to BEAUTYLISH for sending me over their Lunar New Year brush. At the time of filming, they had just launched it, and I know my timing is terrible, but I do have product details. BEAUTYLISH presents the Lunar New Year brush to celebrate the year of the ox. Look at them. Look at them. Look at their little feet. We teamed up with legendary Japanese brush makers to create a special limited edition release. The Lunar New Year brush is an artfully designed powder brush that's as delightful to use as it is to behold. This retails for $125, and if it's your first time encountering a brush that expensive, it is made in Japan and is called Fude. They're hand bundled and not machine made, so anything that's handmade is automatically more expensive than an item that is machine made. The natural hair of choice for this brush design is blue squirrel, very high grade, very soft. It says part brush, part work of art. The perfectly weighted handle features a year of the ox design illustrated by artist Steph Fung over at Mochachito, and I'll put the Instagram down below so you could check it out, and rendered in maquille lacquer by skilled artisans. Master brush makers carefully bundle exquisitely soft squirrel hair by hand to ensure your powder products go on seamlessly every time. Again, the hair type is blue squirrel. The handle length is 120.65 millimeters, Alicia. Let's not do that again. Bristle length 47.625 millimeters. Ferrule size 25.4 millimeters by 19.05 millimeters. I'm not gonna lie, I automatically assumed this was a Chikuhoro and BEAUTYLISH collaboration. It just said BEAUTYLISH teamed up with the Japanese artisans to make this brush. It did not say it was a Chikuhoro collaboration. So I just want to make note of that, because usually the brush will either have Chikuhoro here on the handle, or it will have both BEAUTYLISH and Chikuhoro on the design. Now this was from, oh my gosh, 2017, and a lot of their holiday collaborations were designed in the same manner. If we were to take a look at the brush from last year, Year of the Rat, there's no Chikuhoro print on the ferrule, so this was probably also another situation where, again, they said they just work with the Japanese artisans, but I just assumed that it was a Chikuhoro brush, you know. Why don't we roll into the comparisons, however? This is the Year of the Rat brush, this is Year of the Ox, and people were speculating, listen, is it really that necessary to buy, although limited, we understand, a brush that might be similar in design as the Year of the Rat one? Now, I can recognize there are subtle differences in the brush head design. You can see that the Year of the Ox brush head flares out a little bit more than the Year of the Rat. If we were to look exclusively again at Year of the Ox, I mean, just the handle design is exquisite. It's maquille lacquer design. You have the little oxes there under the moon, which I think might be flowers and stars surrounding them. I mean, this is the cutest thing ever. It has an oval ferrule that's slightly pinched here at the edge. But again, I do think when looking at these two that there's a little more flare where it fans out at the top versus here in the Year of the Rat brush. The Year of the Rat brush comes in a little bit, there's a little bit more of a taper. Both of them round out at the top. I would consider both these brushes to be dome shaped in size, but when you turn them here, you can see that there's a little more roundness in the Year of the Ox brush versus in the Year of the Rat. People have speculated that the Year of the Rat brush, because it was limited and no longer available, that the Chikuhoro Plum Tree brush is like a reincarnation of it. I think they're both different. You can see that the Plum Tree brush is a little more tightly packed, whereas the Year of the Rat brush has a little more fluff. And I would say the Year of the Ox brush has a little more fluff, just a tiny little bit more movement than Year of the Rat. Now, ultimately, both these brushes are made with blue squirrel, so you will still have that beautiful flow experience in terms of how the brush feels on the skin. Very soothing. I mean, super silky soft. And if we were to quickly speak on the natural hairs that brushes are made with, usually Blue Squirrel is reached for if you want a softer feel on the skin, if you don't want as much product pickup as, let's say, a goat hair brush will pick up product. This is a Koiro Kakishibuzomi brush. This is Saikoho goat hair, so you're gonna get a lot more product pickup from this natural hair versus like a Blue Squirrel hair. Makeup wearers with dry, sensitive skin that tend to get irritated with brushes, because it does happen, gravitate toward a Blue Squirrel natural hair because, again, it is very soft and less likely will cause irritation on their skin. If you have Year of the Rat, do you necessarily need Year of the Ox? Not necessarily. They're both made out of Blue Squirrel hair. They're very similar in design, but you see that there's a little more flair here. So the brush head designs are not identical, right? Obviously, the designs on the handles aren't identical, but I think people are more concerned where they're going to get the same performance from their Year of the Rat brush like they would with the Year of the Ox brush if they were to buy this brush from this year's installment of the new Lunar New Year. I would say no, you don't necessarily need the Year of the Ox brush, but I do recognize that there's a little bit more movement here than what exists in the Year of the Rat brush. Let's go into some demos also, just so we can see the brush in action. If you pick up the Lunar New Year brush every year, okay, and it's a no-brainer for you, then the answer to your question is already there. If you already have the Year of the Rat brush and you feel that think it's unnecessary to get this year's brush, totally understandable. I do think, would I have purchased it? Probably, because I am neck deep in Food Day right now, and although I haven't gone as crazy as I really wanted to because I'm trying to be smart, I still probably would have picked up the Year of the Ox brush because, again, this is the way. But from a practicality standpoint, if you already have a bunch of Fude brushes, if you already have a bunch of Koyuro, Chikuhoro, then you're good, right? You don't necessarily need this. I would say though, if you love maquille brushes, just the design on the handle is exquisite. I mean, everything from the handle design to the brush head size and design is beautiful. And what tasks can you use this brush for? If you decide to pick it up, if this happens to be your first Fude purchase, congratulations. Use it for loose powder application or for pressed powder application or for powder foundation application, which we'll do in a minute. You can place bronzer here on the edge of the brush and whisk it along the hollows of the cheeks. You could take the majority of the brush head and apply blush on the apples of your cheeks, and you're wondering, this might be a very big brush for blush application. However, because it is Blue Squirrel, it's not going to pick up as much product, which is another benefit that people look to Blue Squirrel for, is that it's just going to be a lighter wash veil of color that's not going to look overwhelmingly clownish on the cheeks. I mean, people go that route. It is an artistic choice, okay? Don't yell at me. But if you're one to just want a lighter application of blush, then Blue Squirrel will be perfect for you. Highlighter could be a little tricky, but I think you can make it happen. You just have to be a little strategic with where you place the highlighter, very much on the edge here, and just place it on the cheekbones. Here is a Chikuhoro Maquille Sakura brush. I think this is no longer available. This was limited also. The brush head is much bigger and longer bristles than the ones that exist in the Year of the Ox brush. And of course, the classic Chikuhoro Z1, it's just a rounder brush head and more pointy at the top, not as tightly packed as, let's say, the Chikuhoro GSN 02 brush. I think this brush serves a totally different purpose, but just so you can see the difference, if you want lighter application of color, then Blue Squirrel is the way to go. And I think also this has a little more movement than the brush from last year. It feels really nice, and it has a wide dome at the top, so it covers a huge surface area of your face at once. So if you have a medium to small face, and this is going to be perfect for you, one and done. If you have a medium to large face, then this is going to not take forever still. With that said, why don't we come in a little closer for this demo? that's enough. I recently reviewed the Fenty Beauty powder foundation, and I already said this in my comments. I'm more impressed with it as how it looks on top of another foundation. And because we already have foundation on, I applied the Suku cream foundation today. With that said, because we already have coverage, then a blue squirrel brush is perfect because it's not going to pick up as much product. It won't look as heavy on the skin, and it'll just have a lighter application. And here is a shot of how the brush looked like pre-wash. You see that it's a little more tightly packed, and post-wash it blossomed quite a bit. This is in shade 300. Another reason why I very much appreciate a fluffier brush, because I don't want to necessarily add more of like that warm tone on my skin. If I were to apply it with the GSM brush, which I did the other day, that was a little too much product for my liking, but it was for the experiment. Going in now with the Fenty powder foundation, and again, I think this is just a perfect brush, especially if it's your first one, to apply powder bronzer on top of another liquid foundation or even cream foundation. Beautiful for loose powder application, as it's just going to whisk on the right amount. It will not overload the skin, and more importantly than ever, which I think is a benefit everyone recognizes and loves, just how silky soft the brush feels on the skin. Look how it moves, and again, very seamless in application. It is a natural hair brush. You might experience a little bit of shedding, but I don't think a whole lot, since it's primarily made of blue squirrel and it's not a different natural hair mix. I would recommend that you wash the brush so you could wash out the looser bristles, and it'll be a little more stabilized when you start using it. I didn't apply any loose powder under my eyes because it's my under eyes. I'll go in with my Suku sheer loose powder. You don't necessarily need a separate brush to apply loose powder under your eyes with. I just like to take, again, the loose powder of choice with a bigger brush and just tap all over the eyes. And this is appropriate to do with a brush like this because it's so soft. It's not going to stab your lash line at all. I think it's beautifully seamless for the under eyes and very soft here near and close to the lash line, especially if you have particularly sensitive eyes. People just tap on the whole eye area to get the loose powder on there. You could also just take it right under the eye, and again, you can tap as much as you like, but it's so soft. And again, the reason why it is so expensive, because these bristles are kept intact. They're not cut, which leaves a blunt surface at the edge of the fiber, and why some brushes feel stabby in nature. Because the strand is left intact, it just has a beautifully silky soft feel on the skin that, again, it's just, all day. All day. We apply the Fenty powder over the foundation. Why don't we go in with the new Danessa Balm Contour. Now, one disadvantage to Blue Squirrel is that it is used only with powders. Please do not use Blue Squirrel with cream or liquid products. You will ruin the natural hair on the brush. Always go either with a undyed goat hair or a synthetic fiber when you want to use cream or liquid makeup products. This is in the shade medium 2. And something that I did not do on my Danessa video is apply this on top of powder. And I suspected from my video that this will be fine over powder. It does say on the product description that you can apply this on or over powder. Very pleased to say that that was a seamless application. And if you wanted to set this further, then I'll go back in with the Suku, of course, with our Year of the Ox brush, and just kind of whisk it over just to lightly set the balm contours. Not totally necessary, but just another reason why to use this brush. And again, you could just see the beautiful texture that the brush leaves behind. Another benefit to Blue Squirrel is just the finish of the blend is so exquisite. I mean, the skin still appears like itself. It doesn't look overly made up. And the fact that you can layer product, you could Go in with your cream and then powder and cream again, however you want to layer your products. When you're using a Fude brush, know that your makeup will look beyond smooth and gorgeous. Blue Squirrel is not going to move the makeup underneath. If you decide to apply a powder over your cream or liquid product, it's going to leave behind a beautiful veil of color. And just to show some blush application, this is the Suku Pure Color Blush in 08, taking again the year of the Ox brush. And just as I said, if you don't like blush because you feel every time you apply it is too much or it's a complete disaster, Blue Squirrel is the perfect hair choice to use when you just want a veil of color on the cheeks, barely there, and perfectly applied. And for some highlighter, I'm going with Pat McGrath's highlighter because this was the one that was closest to me. But out of curiosity, I wanted to try this with Gray Squirrel because Gray Squirrel, I think, is best used with a more traditional powder versus something like this. This is like a hybrid type of a gel powder situation. It's not going to pick up as much, but I think maybe that's okay for us, since we don't want a whole lot anyway, considering the brush size that we're using. So this is like a really nice size brush and perfect to use with these jelly type of products because naturally the Blue Squirrel will not pick up a lot to begin with. And if you don't want a lot, because again, you're using a much bigger brush head that's going to lay down product on a bigger part of your face versus something smaller that will fit more on the cheekbones. But I like that a lot. I would say this wasn't particularly my favorite highlight color, but when you apply it as a wash of highlight versus more concentrated, it's actually quite nice. Don't mind me, I'm just, layering away. And if you love to finish your makeup with a finishing powder or a loose powder, what have you, this is perfect. Blue Squirrel is exquisite for finishing because it's not going to move around the product you already have on your skin. It's going to delicately graze it, but still blend it so that the skin just looks beautifully buffed and smooth and ready. There you go. And that is the demo using the Year of the Ox brush. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope this video helped. And again, this is not to make you buy it or to make you feel guilty about not wanting it. I just wanted to present the reasons why someone might want to buy it, or if you've been eyeing it, the different ways you can use it if you weren't completely sure. If you collect Fude and this brush, it's just going to stay in the vault. You're not even going to use it. Well, thanks for hanging out anyway, friend. If you have the Year of the Rat brush, again, I don't think you necessarily need the Year of the Ox one, but I can detect that there is a slight difference in feel. And depending on your preference, if you want more of a tighter paddle shaped versus a looser round shape, then that will determine your choice, whether you're going to stick to your Year of the Rat brush or you're going to get the Year of the Ox brush and just have both, or just have this year's brush if you skipped out on last year's brush. And once more, a huge thank you to BEAUTYLISH for sending their gorgeous brush over. And until then, friends, that is a wrap. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope this video helped, and if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and maybe consider subscribing to my channel. And until then, I will see you on here again with another review tutorial, Fude brush extravaganza, monthly favorites, or nightly life chit chat. Take care, and I will see you again soon.